What's up YouTube, Sean Forney here. I'm not necessarily going to do a how-to, but I'm going to show you the steps and the tools needed to change the spark plugs on this F80 M3. So for those that aren't aware, but now, and I guess it's kind of luck of the draw, right? So my first F80 M3 that I had, I did not have to change the spark plugs, did not have to change the gap. It ran fine, it didn't miss, didn't do any of that stuff. But on this car, whenever I installed the tune, I noticed just a little bit of some hesitations whenever you're in third, fourth, fifth, sixth gear, pedal to the floor, max boost. So, now and again, I'm sure one of these guys on here that are automotive engineers are going to correct me, but hypothetically what happens whenever you're forcing induction and you're forcing the air into the car, your gap on the spark plugs, which is this right here, you see that little gap? So that gap is too great and the air is blowing out the spark, and then the spark is not lighting the fuel like it's supposed to or like it's intended to do. So you need to decrease the gap on the spark plugs. In addition, we purchased Iridium spark plugs. The stock number is 97506, and I'll review all this stuff with you. But again, quick how-to, not gonna go through every step. I'm just gonna highlight them just so if you're a guy like me, I don't need to watch an entire video on how to do this. After I glance through it, hit the fast forward button, and skip 20, 30 seconds at a time, I can understand how to do it and we can get it done. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna highlight the steps, so stay tuned. So again, changing the spark plugs, F80 M3, we are going to be utilizing these spark plugs, okay? These are NGK plugs, stock number 97506. These are the plugs that the guys from Pro Tuning Freaks recommend. They also recommend gapping the plugs to 0.22 or 0.3 or 0.23. You can use the various different gappers. You can use these guys. You can use, I know I got another one in here somewhere, but I will show you that later in the video. But it's not like the olden days when it was simple. Back in my 335i, I could pull this plastic cover off, undo a couple things, and then boom, you had access. With this, you gotta take off the brace. You gotta take off all this stuff back here. You gotta take off this rubber boot because, the engine sits under the cow here, this part right here. So you gotta take off all of these parts to access that. Now, depending on what you read or what you watch, some people do not take the intake, the pipes off to the intercooler. Some people do, some people don't. So we're gonna see, but this plastic cover is pretty easy to come off. You just have to pry a little bit, and it's kind of like they're in rubber. There you go, voila. Now you have your first means of access to start taking things off. So you're gonna take this cover off, you're gonna take all this stuff off, different size bolts, blah, blah, blah. But that's what you're going to do to have access. Okay, so I started taking off the plastic covers back here, and the little tools that you're gonna need for this, I always find it best to use a little flathead screwdriver to get these little pop things out. And then they do make a special tool. I don't have it, that you can slide in here to wedge them off. But I just grab a pair of pliers and just lightly pull up on the pin. The pin is what keeps that down after you push it down in the hole there. And then loosen these up here with the tin, and then she pops out, okay? You guys do whatever works best for you, but I keep everything that I take off in the same exact order. So that way I know exactly what I'm doing whenever I'm putting it back together. So we have to take out this little, unhook this guy here. We got to take off the carbon fiber brace. We got to take off this brace. So I'm going to get back to it. So next we're going to take off this rubber doohickey guy. BMW over engineers everything, but you got some more pop rivets here, here. Let's see here, another one there. Same thing on this side. You gotta pull these guys out here, pop rivet, and then that should come out, so stay tuned. Okay, the next part of the process after you've got both those covers off, over there, and you'll see we got these things with their respective sides. Again, because I'm an idiot, I will try and fight with stuff forever, but you'll see to get this weather stripping off right here, you got this little tube that runs through here. You're gonna pull that up on both sides. Again, because BMW thinks they need something for everything. And then this right here, that should come right off. Like so. I'm going to place it here. Okay, so now you're left with everything we need to take off uncovered. Stay tuned for the next steps. We're gonna take off carbon fiber brace. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I believe they are 13. They are 13, so stay tuned. One other little piece I forgot to mention when taking off the carbon fiber brace is this little guy right here attached to the reservoir. So don't forget to take that one off either. Next step of the process is taking off this aluminum brace here, 3. I'm covering up the positive terminal just to be safe. Here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm just doing somewhere there should be an even number. 3, 4, 5. Yep, 12. There we go. So you take off those 12 bolts, you'll be able to get that aluminum brace off. Stay tuned. And you have these two right here, which you forgot about. And you'll be reminded that you forgot about them whenever you pull up on this, and it doesn't go anywhere. All right, next you're gonna remove this clamp here, another one down in here, and these are 6mm ones. You got 2 of them to take off. As you can see, you're starting to look a little naked. You're starting to feel like you've been working for an hour already and you haven't even got to touch your spark plugs. Frustrating, but this is the steps. Okay, got the charge pipes off. Boom, boom. Connected down here and here. Got this little doohickey off of there. So now I believe we should be scot-free. Just a little bit of pressure, so stay tuned. All right, we also took off this little tray that was back here. That way you'd have easier access to these 2 coil packs. But look, voila, finally, they're here. You can access them now. All right, let's get to work. Okay, so now that we're here, you can lift up like this. It pushes that out. You pull this out. Depending on how tight they're in there, we'll see. Give it a pull, and voila, there's your spark plug. So I'm gonna do mine one at a time. So stay tuned. Okay, so we are now to the part where we are changing the plugs. I'm just doing them one by one, okay? And do not be like me and wait to do this. You need a 14mm, 12-point thin wall socket. I just assumed that I probably had one that was going to work. I did not. I had to order one off of Amazon, but luckily one of my buddies came through and he's a mechanic and he actually had the exact tool for this job. So make sure, this is very important, everything else you can get by. Even the E-Torx, you can find a conversion like for the 12, you can use a 10mm and it works, or E-Torx, wherever one's at. You can find, you know, like this one, I believe a 10 works, I don't know, but you can find something that works. You cannot find anything that works for this. You have to have this spark plug, 14mm thin walled 12 point. So stay tuned. That's very important. Do not do what I did and not have this, because then you're stuck. All right, so stay tuned. We're almost done. All right, I have officially got out all the plugs. Now again, this car has 13,000 miles on it, but you can see it had the factory Bosch spark plugs on it, and they're gapped. I forget what the factory gap is, but we are officially done. So now comes the painstaking part of putting all of this, all of that good stuff back on here without breaking anything. And the only thing I did break, and I'm proud of myself, was a piece of plastic right here. It's hard to see. Let's see here, focus camera. But this little piece of plastic right here cracked. The rivet didn't crack, the plastic one, so it's gonna be fine. It's not even noticeable, but all of that, and you know, it's par for the course if you're doing it for yourself. Heck, even BMW Master Techs will still mess things up from time to time. So I'm proud of myself. So we got it here. So now I'm going to start putting everything back together. Then we'll take it for a ride and see if it fixes the little bit of hesitation that I was having. So stay tuned. We'll come back here in a few minutes. And just like that, she's all back together. So all in, including me filming and going back and looking and checking things, I think I have about 2.5 hours at it. I think if you can focus and just do what you need to do, you can probably do it in 1.5 hours. The pros probably do it in quicker than that, but everything is back together. Nothing is broken, and we're about to take her for a drive. Stay tuned. So everybody, just got done taking the car for a drive, and it fixed the little issue that I was having. So again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions in particular about how to change these plugs on these cars, please comment below. Again, it's kind of hit or miss. My last one, again, which was identical to this car, I tuned it, did not have to change the plugs, didn't have any issues. This car, I noticed it as soon as it was tuned, that it had like a slight little, it was only from 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear on, but you would feel it like, you know, almost cut out. So as soon as I replaced the plugs, just took it for its first drive, and it is spectacular. So I'll later do a thorough stage 2 review on the F80 M3 and what I think about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Any questions, comment below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.